Hello and welcome to my channel, and I'm going to do the tag top 10 decks without people. I like decks with people in, so the decks without people have just managed to sneak into my collection and win me over. So let's start with a deck with bunnies. This is the Chubby Bunny. The Chubby Bunny Tarot. I got this fairly recently. I love the colors. I didn't see anyone have this deck. I was looking for something entirely different and ended up with the Chubby Bunnies. It's got really nice cardstock. I really like it. It's thin. It's really thin. And they just have this kind of like vintage postcard feel. Some of them are cartoons, some of them are more real bunnies. There's a complete variety here. And I just really enjoy it. It's very gentle. Um, and I just like looking at it. I love the borders. So that is the Chubby Bunny Tarot, the first deck without people on my list. I just want to show you all the cards because I haven't really seen anybody show this one, but it's a good one. There we go. So the next deck on my list was a Kickstarter, and there was just a Kickstarter for the an Oracle deck, and I didn't back it on Kickstarter, and I saw it around, and then suddenly I just felt like it was the right time. It has this fantastic box, and it's the Faunabelle Tarot. Great cardstock, nice guidebook, and gold gilding on the edges of the cards. And this is, I think, designed for children. I absolutely love that the suits are a specific animal in the minors. So the swords are the birds, which we can see here, and the turtles are the pentacles, and then the cups are these fish. It can be hard to remember which suit is which because it doesn't give a lot of indication, but it does in some ways kind of run through this storyline within the minors. So it is pretty cool. Like this, for instance, is a hard one because it's the 10 of cups, but there's only two fish. So you immediately think that it's the 2 of cups. And this is the 8. And again, there's only 2 fish. But yeah, but I feel like it's really good. I wonder if I put the numbers on. I think I did this myself, and I'm noticing on here, total blackout. I think I put the numbers on myself in Sharpie and like to indicate that that's a knight. And here's our queen. Yeah, now I remember. So this is the 3 because I think you were meant to count the bubbles. That's right. And that just was too much for me. The sticks, counting the sticks. So I put the numbers on the cards. But the way it comes is with absolutely no numbers or anything. So yeah, so that's the Faunabelle Tarot. I've really enjoyed it though. It's a nice size. It's interesting cardstock for its size. Yeah, so I'm really glad I got it. I really like the box. Yeah, so next up, we have another deck with only one type of non-person in it, and that is the Weird Cat Tarot. It seems like, I don't know, we'll have to see if there's a theme of, no, I think there's only a few, whether when it's a non-person deck, whether I prefer to have just one type of non-person. So this is the Weird Cat Tarot. It's a lot of fun. I love the strawberries in the pentacles. Yeah, strangely, it seems like it'd be quite a summer deck, but I actually pull this one out more in the winter. I like the color palette. It's got this pretty pink edging. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Cartoon cats. Look at this. Come on. So, so cute. So, this is the Weird Cat Tarot. And next up, this was actually my first Kickstarter deck and my first non-person one on the list that is not an animal deck. It's actually crystals. This is the Telluric Tarot, and I backed this on Kickstarter and it took forever. Like I think it was like, I don't know, it felt like a couple years, but it does, and I don't really use it, but I wanted it so desperately because at the time it was out of print. But of course, like waiting so long, your practice kind of changes a bit. I do use it occasionally. The guidebook, although weirdly formatted, I think there's a version that's come out since this one, but the guidebook is kind of weirdly formatted, but it does offer a lot of really good information. And since this one came out, I feel like there have been newer decks that have come out that kind of do the same thing, perhaps in a better way. But I do enjoy the images and the associations on the cards with both the crystal and the plant energy. So yeah, that's the Telluric Tarot. And next up, I'm trying to pack these away as I go so I don't have so I can just stick them back on the shelf when I'm done. So I hope you don't mind. Just waiting a second while I put it back in its box. It also has this, speaking of its box, it also has this massive box, which the guidebook doesn't fit in. And I don't know, I keep it in its box only because the box is quite pretty. And if I don't keep it in its box, I will completely forget about its existence altogether. So the next deck without people in is another not animal deck. And that's the Walking Meditation. This is new to my collection. 100% influenced by crochet, witch tarot, Christa. And I really enjoy it. This is a difficult form for tarot to be in for me, and I find it hard to connect with the cards. But so this deck, I feel like, is kind of the one that kind of sits outside of my norm to expand my reading a bit. It makes me work a little harder. But it's beautiful. And yeah, definitely. I feel like for me, so it's kind of like in the fall season, in the autumn, or the winter. So I haven't used it over the summer, but it is, yeah, it is fantastic. And then it comes with the two guidebooks, one for like the walking meditation side, and then the tarot guidebook. So that's quite fun. The cardstock is nice too. So that is the Walking Meditation Tarot. Okay, so now we're moving over to the other side. The other side of the pile on this side. The next deck on the list was a gift from Christa. We kind of sent it back and forth. I asked her if I could try it to see if I wanted to get it. And then I tried it, and I did like it, but I don't think I was going to get it. And then she sent it back, and she's like, this one's meant for you. So, but I do enjoy it very much. It has a different energy than some of the others that I would consider to sit in a similar spot in my collection. And yeah, I've really enjoyed it. The guidebook I got the full-size guidebook, and I've really enjoyed it. The animals are so cute. The guidebook is fantastic. And yeah, and it has definitely a unique voice, I would say. In the way that the messages come through. There's a lot of owls in this. Foxes and otters are kind of the general theme, although there are a few other animals about. There's a lot of bears too. So that is the Tarot Fauna. And the next one is newer to my collection. And this creator had a Kickstarter going for a different deck. I didn't want that one, but it made me want to try one of their decks. And this is the Ophidia Rosa Tarot. And I haven't used this an awful lot. It is way, it's got this matte gold gilding. It's very much outside of the norm, I would say, to what I read with. It isn't easy to read with, but I think it is good to have something that really fits outside of your normal comfort zone. And I think that, you know, your readings are better for that. My readings are better for it when I kind of step outside. And there are times when I am, you know, looking for something a bit more pared down than this. And I would say that that is the kind of decks I like. I think it's this more vintagey kind of the feel. I think I prefer like more solid lines. But I'm glad to have it in my collection. Yeah, and definitely not a person to be seen. So, well, there's an eye, but other than that. So this is the Ophidia Rosa. And the next one, quite different in style from this one, quite a bit more colorful, is the Laughing Eye, Weeping Eye tarot. When I got this, I didn't like it at all. But actually, this deck I use for shadow work when I want, when I want to dig a little deeper. So this I was using in shadow work alongside the Shadow Speaks Oracle. But it has since been replaced by the Colorful Tears Tarot by the same creator. And yeah, but I still think I might pull this out. It's a different size. The Colorful Tears Tarot is square. So yeah, so I would imagine, although it's been replaced, I will still use this one because this one has served me pretty well. I really just don't even like the imagery, to be honest, but it works. It's very effective. So that is the Laughing Eye, Weeping Eye, which admittedly does have some hands going on here, but there aren't any actual people. Which I think is why it works so well as a shadow work deck, because it can be, I mean, especially because I find the images a little off-putting too. It's like it takes me into a place where I can do that work a little bit more easily. The White Sage Tarot in a tin. I've only ever had the tinned version, and I use this one occasionally when I'm in the mood for this color palette, because I would say this isn't my general color palette I like. I think that's the theme of these non-people decks, is these are decks that actually sit outside of my kind of normal style. Elephants are so cute, but it is a great deck. I love the chakra associations in the deck, although I don't always agree with them, so that can make it a little bit more difficult. But generally speaking, I think it's pretty solid. And it can be fun when they don't align with what I think they should be. So, yes. So that is the White Sage Tarot, which is such a lovely size. It's like a little taller than Bridge. And the next one has no people or animals. It is the Tarot is Color, which I got some point this year. We've moved from a very small deck to a very large deck. But I have enjoyed this deck so much. Such good readings. Yeah, it's amazing. She's pricey for sure, but for me, it was definitely worth it. Yeah, really been enjoying it. I don't really know what else to say about this one because it's all just color. But the artwork is so beautiful, and I think it just sometimes I don't do well with the more abstract decks, but this one seems to yeah, seems to work really well. I did, when I was in my very early teens, had a kind of Rothko moment. So perhaps this leans into that stage of my journey. But very enjoyable, particularly pulling like 2 or 3 cards and seeing how they kind of speak to each other and what like colors are similar or opposing, and then kind of pulling in the tarot associations. Really cool. Definitely enjoying this one. Okay, and the next one, we have 4 more. The next one on the list is, I mean, they could be animals. It's in this bag, this special bag made by Christa, and it's the Teddy Bear Tarot. Now, I mean, you could say these are definitely not people, but they're definitely more people than anything else that's been on the list so far. And they don't speak to me in a people voice. It is more of an animal voice, or a non-person voice. And this is a little bit similar to my most favorite deck, I think, that is, I will show next on the list, but it's a similar energy. It's very gentle, very kind. Even the Emperor looks super angry. He doesn't mean it. So I really, really love the Teddy Bear Tarot. And then this is, I think, my favorite deck. Full stop. The Way of the Panda. I've had it out since I have had this deck since it came out, and since then it is my comfort deck for sure. I would call it my cheerleader deck. If anyone I know needs some encouragement of the panda kind or otherwise, this is definitely my significator card. And yeah, I'm going to pull this deck out. It's just so encouraging. It's so cute. I just know the cards so well and know the characters so well. I don't have all of their names memorized, but I'm definitely getting there over time. And as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh yeah. And I feel kind of bad that I didn't remember their name, but it comes back pretty quickly. So I have the Way of the Panda in the tarot tiles by Jamie Sawyer, and I had the mini version, which I begrudgingly gave to my child. I didn't begrudgingly leave it, but I've had regrets since, so I might need to bring back in the mini. But for right now, this one is definitely well loved. The next one is neither people nor animal. It's trees. I trimmed this. This is the tarot trees. I trimmed the titles off because I find it so easy to read. Remarkably, I really enjoy this one. I enjoy the colors. There's the backs. I don't use it that often, but I am glad to have it. It's just, yeah, it just makes me happy. Just trees. Sometimes, although I'm not really an outdoorsy person, sometimes I'm just in the mood for a tree reading, and to kind of connect to that energy, but not a person to be seen. There aren't really, I did see a little squirrel there. I said there were no animals, but there obviously are. Oh my gosh, look at the poor Five of Cups. But this deck has some, to me, some personality. I've heard people say that they don't feel like it has that and it's a little cold, but I feel like this deck does have a lot of personality for me. I've had it a little while, so perhaps we've just bonded on that level. But yeah, the artwork is so good. Like it's so clear and bright. It almost looks like she could have like drawn right on this card, you know, with like marker. Yeah, I really enjoy this one. And with its trim size, it's kind of regular oracle size. And I can shuffle it. And I'm glad I have this one instead of the mini. I did edge it in this kind of like rainbow of green. It's still quite thick though. But it was it was early on in my trimming journey, but I still think I did a good job. And the last one I think is my newest acquisition, which is the Sacred Web Tarot. And this is a really interesting deck. It's got quite a large guidebook, and I haven't really quite gotten to grips with its story yet, I don't think. But I don't believe there's any people in this deck. Like this one, for instance. I think I kept the cards that I pulled first, like on top. But what's going on here? It's just really interesting. It reminds me quite a bit of the what's it called? The Kim Kranz one. But kind of more of a, you know, with this black color palette, black and white, I guess. But it's really interesting. Yeah. Oh, look at this. It's kind of confrontational in an interesting way. And just kind of like, what's going on here? You know? Which is interesting. You know, that is a mood, you know, where you want to be intrigued. Look, like it's like, what are they doing? What's happening? So yeah. So I have really been enjoying this one. The cardstock is, you know, leaves a lot to be desired. It's a little thin. But yeah, it's cool though. I think what it lacks in card quality, it makes up for in guidebook substance from what I've noticed. Like, but really is just a bit of a head scratcher until you figure out what's actually going on and what it, you know, the message is trying to portray. And I don't think I've 100% gotten with it yet, because I haven't made the time to, not because I don't have the desire to, because I will definitely be coming back to this. Yeah, it's got kind of an interesting minimalist style, I would say, but there is a lot going on, and you're just kind of left with like, what? Wait, what's happening here? But it's very interesting nonetheless. So that is all I have for you with my tarot decks with no people. That was a lot of fun, and I'll see you again next time.